All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So we're going to look at three here. We're going to look at Plug, NNE, and Oklo, OKLO. There's some ticker names I love saying, and Oklo has fallen into that very unnecessary, but one of my favorite categories right there. So, Plug. Hey, I'll be honest with you. I saw this one setting up. I mentioned it on the Discord, and I actually mentioned it on one of the videos. But you can see I saw it yesterday. It started to look really interesting. Still looked interesting, and then today was a very beautiful thing. And you know I'm going to talk about the 200 moving average a lot, but this was a really interesting line as well, this 219 line. And I'm going to talk about that one almost as much as the 200 before we talk about breaking all and flying, right? But Plug, lovely candle, lovely low, 133 million shares, and a very nice little steady increase right there, right? So good moves here. The next two, really the same situation, all right? We have a golden line test. You know I need one more candle. I always do, but that's a beautiful candle. That's some nice volume. That's a healthy MACD and RSI. NNE ideally will copy what Oklo did. I love saying that, I really do. And yeah, you get the nice candle over the golden line. I would have loved this to be just a little bit stronger, but honestly, I think that's really nice. And what is a golden line? A golden line makes me think all-time highs are about to come. Oklo right there, NNE right there. Clearly, all-time highs is all the way up here, but believe me, I don't give too much, attention and weight on wicks. It's all about candles to me. So yeah, get me over that, make me believe we're over that, and oof, good things can happen, right? So really interested in these three right here. I think the place I'll end it before we go any further is, look, NASDAQ had an interesting day today. Okay, I'll be honest, I got really excited in the morning because you can see it's right here, right? On the morning, today is the 6th, right? We gap up and actually hold it for about 3 hours, right? This is the hourly chart. That's the first 3 hours of the day. I went into the Discord and I definitely said, hey, the NASDAQ's looking good. And what was that? It was getting over the 8 and the 20 on, again, that first 3 hours. We were pushing, right? A doji's 50-50, and I will honestly say this looks better than it does scary, right? There's more good here than I see than bad. It's a nice gap up. I mean, it's decent. We're not quite near that 50% line, but I think we're over that line right there, right? So again, I see, end of the day, a doji's a doji, and a doji's very 50-50. A doji is that candle shape right there, right? So I'm happy we're over the lines. I for sure need to believe. I still think our number, yeah, 19,950. If Nasdaq can do that tomorrow, right? QQQ, same chart, just smaller number, right? But if QQQ can come get me near what, five, let's call it 528, 527.25 is exactly where I'm clicking, right? If Nasdaq and QQQ can do the thing, all three of these very tech heavy stocks will just do that much better. All right, so make sure you're watching Nasdaq on these three, but I'm liking the setups individually on these three for sure. All right, so before we do go any further and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal. Is there another one up there? Ooh, I'll draw some new ones on this one. But there are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online with your friends. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms, but for real, just being here, giving me your time, oh, I'm so grateful for it, all right? So, again, I started the video with it. I'm going to show it again, and really, this is far less about bragging if you watch my stuff, and I'm going to just tell you why, right? But on the 3rd, right, that's when Plug started looking interesting to me. All right, it held it in the few hours between it, and I was really liking this Friday the 3rd candle. All right. The easy thing to look at is the 200 moving average. And again, you always hear me say it. I respect these five lines way more than my little manual human clicks, right? I'm just a dude clicking end of the day, right? I am no guru. None of that stuff exists, all right? Come on now. But this line is actually what caught my attention a little bit more than the 200 and then obviously the 200 itself, right? But let me just zoom out real quick. And I think this is a good moment. Let's just look at it from the August point, okay? All of a sudden, this line that I drew, it was a resistance, resistance, right? All of that for about half the year, 6 months of just really, really tough things happening on that line. Obviously, a lot of moving averages things happening. You can kind of talk about, like, you get the point though, right? For me, it really was this line that I drew. From there, we go above it, we come back and use it as a support. We come back and we use it as a support, and then lo and behold, the takeoff right there. When a line, whether it's one of the good ones you have to you end up drawing yourself, or maybe you take from me, right? Or it's a moving average. When a line goes from resistance to support, the bounce tends to come after. That's what we're looking when we're at. Look, there's no guarantee resistance is going to break. Sometimes they really do break on the first one. They just take off, and it's a distant memory, right? But I think this is a little more indicative of how stocks work on tough lines. And again, you can also see the moving averages were like right behind it and pretty horizontal on that, right? But yeah, that caught my eye, and then the candle itself was very strong, right? So you can see we close right here. This is by far bigger than the biggest candle to the left. And it's actually nicely over 50% of this one, right? It's almost all of it, right? So to me, all of a sudden, and kind of the same thoughts on this line, can't get over the 200, can't get over the 200, can't get over the 200. I started to believe this was the one. You know what I mean? And again, volume was starting to look nice by the time it ended. It was significantly nicer than, and let that use the word significantly. It was nicer enough, right? We were over the 50-day line. We were nicer than Thursday. And it was a good little healthy nicer too, right? From there, even nicer today. Gap up and go. Nothing beats that, right? So look, at this point, I think that we broke and confirmed the 200. At this point, I am looking for this thing to break all five and fly. I am, right? And as you zoom out and zoom out, all I see is red. You can see I've been this is a stock I know. I got trend lines up here. I have no idea when I drew that, right? But nonetheless, I think this is our immediate focus for sure. That's not the next line up. Let's go ahead and delete that. And let's go ahead and delete that. I would say since that 16 range, this thing's definitely fallen off my more immediate radar. But what am I looking for right now? This is at least an important line. Yeah, and there's going to be another one in between that. Where are we to that? Okay, so what did I just click on? I clicked on half of that big one right there, that big candle right there, and basically the top of this right here, all right? So arguably, I could have lowered that line to here. This is the true, like, the last candle, but I went with this one. I thought that would be good. Again, I always say it. The gap fill line is a lot harder to break than it usually seems like, so that's an important one to look at. But look, yeah, at this point, I think 355 should be next, okay? If this was going to come down, it would probably come down at 3. I could see 3 being the oh no line. If we lose 3, it'll be a real fast fall actually to 285. We cannot lose 205. All right, again, I'm seeing a good confirmation here. But yeah, got to talk about both sides of the coin, right? Where are we to that? Oh, that's basically where we closed today. Yeah, again, I think that's the line right there. What is that line? Oh, that's an interesting line. And that's a little close, actually. I think this 320 is a little bit of a difficult line, right? I'm clicking on kind of the bottom of these two. It's basically half of this guy. It's basically the top of this guy, right? So I could see that 320 being difficult, and I think that makes sense for today. But yeah, I think 355 is still the line I'd be interested in right now. So those are the two up. We talked about 3. Do not lose 288. Let's come down here again, right? I'm liking the MACD and the RSI. That's a real nice divergence on both. Again, divergence, just a fancy word for two lines going away from each other. We want green to go up and away, and I'm seeing green up and away on both. That's a real nice slope right there too. We talked about that. 67 is a real healthy number too. Looking at plug, it's been a while since we've been up here. we've been at 82, but the last time we were there was back in July, right? So it's been about 6 months since we've been there, and from there the highest we've been is roughly 74-ish, right? So keep an eye on the RSI, but again, you know me, I'm generally here assuming it's going to go to at least 80 and then we'll react from there. But there's some good room between now and 80 on the daily right there, right? Where are we on the weekly? So very, very, very big weekly test, all right? We have not been over the 50 moving average on the weekly since all the way back here in 2022. We're in 2025 already, right? So that's a whole lot of nothing on the red line. And I mean, not even a wick, not even a single potential test. That was the closest anything. And that was February 2023. And that's absolutely nothing, right? That's just the closest wick to it. So interesting things going on. We were here about a month ago-ish, give or take, right? But that's looking nice. That's looking nice, right? MACD's maybe about to become positive. And what I actually really like, look, today is only Monday. We still got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and most of the weekly requirements already taken care of, right? Just to get to the average, we only need another half of today. If we and from there, if the week keeps going, we have a good shot at getting more than this one right here, right? Because this was in the 500s, we're already in the 100 something, right? So I'm liking the volume setup. I'm liking the shape of this weekly chart. Again, we have to wait till Friday for this one to close, and then I need next week to confirm. But really, looking at this thing, I think the lines are still really good here. I do. I'm liking my lines. What line is that? I'm just a little curious. 340. Let me see what 340 looks like on the daily, but I think I like that 355 still. 340 is going to take the bottoms instead of the middles. I could see that being a good line. I'm going to lower it to 340. I think that is the better line. All right, I think 340 is next. Break 340, and really it's about a 33% move on that red, 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 green, 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 red, 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 beautiful, beautiful, nothing right there, right? So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. I think I'm going to chapter these two together because really they're both in the nuclear world. They're both going after the same golden line test, and really you can see it. NNE Oklo. I love saying that so much. Just look at the lower indicators too. They're actually just about the same, let alone, like I said, the top, right? But the one thing to at least call out is Oklo's maybe a step further, right? You can see that that Friday candle, obviously over the golden line, but to me, more importantly, look, I'm going to delete the line. We got over the biggest candle to the left, right? That was right there. We closed all the way up there, right? So you get over the biggest candle to the left and you do some nice important things on top of that. Man, that's a beautiful thing to see right there, right? Look, this is nice using of the lines, right? This thing is bouncing on the 8 like a champion, staying horizontal on the 20. Like it would have been really bad to lose the 20 and fall to the 50 right here, right? Instead, it doesn't confirm and holds. It gives the 50 some time to catch up. You hear me say it. It's hard to break up 3 lines. It's real hard to go down 3 lines. And yeah, instead you use them as a support, and beautiful, beautiful. And hey, I don't know if you watched the plug one, but look, watch the orange line. Resistance, 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 support, bounce, and go, right? So again, same things I say on just about all the charts we're seeing, right? But I'm seeing a nice golden line break. I'm seeing a relatively okay confirmation. I really would have liked it to be a little bit more. Look, 10% is a big number. I just really would have liked this to be a bigger candle, I think. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, the volume's not bad. The lower indicators aren't bad. 78 is a little high. It is, but I'm liking what I'm seeing on NASDAQ. Oops, what does CCU look like? So that's a little bit low volume. But hey, CCU could be really interesting if it can get over that. That's about your 50% right there. What's that line? Yeah, maybe 1190 CCU could be interesting. Comp Q is what I was trying to click on though. Look, NASDAQ is over the 8 and the 20. Obviously, I need more. NASDAQ did use the 50 well, right? So this isn't too bad. S&P 500 isn't too bad, right? We actually saw a better day on both and then an interesting close and doji on both. But Give me NASDAQ. You know I care a little bit more about NASDAQ than S&P 500 on such tech-heavy stock. But hey, give me the good answer to this doji. That's a super low 49 that can go right back up to the 80s, right? NASDAQ's setting up well, and that could be good for NNE and Oklo, right? So let's look at NNE just a bit. That's a strong candle right there. Right? I like that strong candle. We are easily over the biggest candle to the left. This is now the biggest candle by far. Did we get over 50% of that? Oh, we basically closed exactly there, right? And again, you know my clicks are rough, right? Like it's not like I'm getting the math in right there, but I clicked on 32.62. We closed at 32.60. What was the high of the day? Was it 62? No, it's 65. It's a couple pennies over that. But yeah, we're pretty much at 50% of that candle. We're nicely over the biggest to the left. We are nicely over the golden line. I'm liking the MACD and the RSI. And actually, one thing I do like about this MACD, I guess I zoomed out too much, but we never fall negative. We never fall negative, right? As this thing's going horizontal, we're getting closer to the line than ideal, but hey, it looks like we're ready to go back up positive. And yeah, just like I was saying with Oklo, 67's a real healthy RSI there. Oklo again. Oh no, that one was the high one, excuse me. But again, I like the volume. I like the MACD recovery. I like the chart. Give me NASDAQ, and I think it'll be a little bit easy to ignore the RSI. You can also see it wasn't that long ago. RSI was living in the high 80s. You can actually think that's even higher. No, that's about the same one. That one's even higher. That's in the 90s right there at the end of September, right? So wasn't that long ago that Oklo got a lot of attention. And, you know, Oklo has the Sam Altman connection. Sam Altman's the dude that did Chat GPT. It sounds like he's just an investor, but hey, when a little random stock like Oklo, that some dude on YouTube loves saying, Oklo, Oklo, I really do. I got to stop doing that, right? When some little random ticker like that is connected to a name like Sam Altman, all of a sudden I'm thinking to myself, this dude might write them another check real quick and hey, there you go, right? So it's important to be connected to important people, important tickers, important companies. And yeah, I think the Sam Altman connection is an important one, all right? Last thing, and I've kind of said it on these two before because I've covered these two before. Nuclear energy in many ways is connected to quantum computers and to AI. All right. We need a lot of power to give energy and to run these monster computers that are doing things in seconds that take, you know, years and decades before, right? That's not some magical thing that just happens by hopes and wishes, right? We need power to support that. And I've said this sentence before and I still believe it. It's really interesting that nuclear energy went from these Chernobyl nightmares to all of a sudden being the realistic way of actually harnessing enough power to maybe doing some crazy things, even crazier things than we're seeing right now, right? So I think nuclear has a really interesting place in this, you know, in this tech hype that we're living in. I think the very realistic thing is that these are going to take time, right? I actually listened to the Oklo earnings, the last one that happened. It was the one before the golden line fail. It might have been it was somewhere up here. I don't remember where. Nonetheless, who cares? He was pretty blunt that nothing significant is going to happen for at least another 3 years at this point. I think he was pretty loud about between 27 and 29 some more significant progress updates. You know what I mean? Like right now they're just trying to prove things on smaller scales, and then like there's still a long way between now and just real sustainable nuclear energy, right? But the hype could be there, and that's definitely why these are big attentions in my head. All right, so did we talk about the weekly on either? I mean, there's not too much to talk about on the weeklies, right? But I'll say this, Oklo is a little bit healthier on the RSI on the weekly. When you look at NNE, it's about in the same place. You're seeing a good little divergence. Volume's been a little this way, but again, on the weekly, with today being Monday only, I think it's fair to say we're probably going to get a little bit closer to up here by the end of this week, a nice little turnaround. And hey, if we can actually even get over 20 million shares by the end of the week, that would be nice, because then all of a sudden I'm thinking to myself, nice, we're staying consistently there, maybe we'll even start to creep back up, right? So I'm liking these. I am. The charts are there. Give me a little bit more on NASDAQ and beautiful things would happen. If they were to come back down, I would pretty much use the golden line for each of them. Again, that would be worse for Oklo, but the problem is, again, as much as I love them, green could be a red if it comes back. So yeah, I would use 24 on the way down there. I would use use 29 on the way down here. Otherwise, you break golden lines, and I'm expecting 20% after 20% after 20%, because that's why I love all-time highs and I hate all-time lows. All right, so let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Oh, I appreciate you so much.